Welcome to the It Factor. We're Jimmy and I, exploring a new blog post by Mr. Len Kaplan, CEO of CDML and MSP in Queens, NY, offering network management, voice over IP and UCaaS, cybersecurity compliance, IaaS, cloud, and Microsoft 365 and Azure solutions. If you're a small business owner or manage IT for a growing organization, this deep dive is definitely for you. Today we're tackling a topic that's become, well, pretty urgent for anyone relying on a Mac for their business. It's this blog post titled, Mac in the Crosshairs, Beware of the Latest Info-Stealing Malware Targeting macOS. For so long, Macs have had this image of being almost impenetrable, right, like a safe haven. But as Mr. Kaplan's insights reveal, that comforting idea, it's rapidly becoming a dangerous myth. Understanding this shift is absolutely critical for protecting your business operations and, frankly, your entire digital livelihood.
Okay, let's unpack this and really get to the bottom of what's changed. So the core message for Mac in the Crosshairs really feels like a wake-up call for Mac users. Is it truly saying that Apple's long-standing reputation for rock-solid security just isn't enough anymore?
Or are we just seeing, a few isolated incidents getting blown up?
No, that's precisely the stark reality it lays out. It's definitely not just isolated incidents. It's a fundamental systemic shift. For years, we had this comforting idea, like you said, that Macs were almost immune to the really nasty threats. But Mr. Kaplan's article highlights a major surge in incredibly sophisticated info-stealing malware designed specifically for macOS. What's truly striking and maybe a bit unsettling is that the game has just fundamentally changed. These aren't generic threats. We're talking malware engineered to bypass those traditional Mac defenses.
So that old comfort blanket of Macs don't get viruses is now essentially a dangerous vulnerability itself. Because it's not just annoying pop-ups, but actual info-stealing malware. What kind of information are we really talking about for a small business? What's at risk?
Exactly. That old thinking is just outdated, and frankly, holding on to it puts businesses at serious risk. What's fascinating here, and a bit worrying, is that info stealers were once, mostly a Windows problem, but now they're prominently targeting macOS. And this makes it a critical concern for small businesses because it means your entire digital vault is potentially exposed. We're not just talking about, personal photos or something. We're talking about safeguarding business credentials, client information, proprietary data, banking details, and ensuring operational continuity. A breach here could be absolutely devastating, not just for your bottom line, but for your reputation and the trust your customers have in you.
That's a powerful shift, and honestly, yeah, it's a little terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, we know these threats are out there and they're serious,
Yeah.
but what tactics are they actually using? This is where Mac in the Crosshairs gets into the really unsettling details, the sneaky ways these info stealers get past their defenses.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through maybe a couple of the prime examples it highlights so our listeners know what to actually watch out for?
Absolutely. And this is where understanding how they operate becomes so critical. The attackers are incredibly clever. They often rely heavily on social engineering to trick you, the user, into basically doing their dirty work for them. Let's look at a few specific examples from the article. Okay, first, consider Shamos. It's an Amos variant, apparently from a group called Cookie Spider. Now, this malware is a master of disguise. It presents itself as a legitimate help guide or maybe some useful software, often pushed through malvertising, those deceptive ads you sometimes see, or even fake GitHub pages. The core trick is to persuade users to copy and paste malicious commands into Terminal. Now, for anyone not familiar, Terminal is your Mac's command line interface. It's powerful, lets you do advanced stuff, but if you paste malicious code into it and hit enter, well, you've essentially just handed the attacker the keys.
Wow. So they're literally tricking you into compromising your own machine by running code you think is, helpful?
Mhm.
Harmless. What exactly does Shamos then steal once it's actually in?
Precisely. That's the trap. Once it's executed, Shamos goes on a data gathering spree. It's grabbing your passwords, browser data, your keychain entries, which is where your Mac securely stores all those sensitive logins and notes, Apple Notes, even crypto wallets. All of this gets quietly packaged up and sent off to the attacker's command and control servers, their C2 servers. Basically, their central collection hub where they gather all the stolen data. You'd likely never even know it's happening. And what's particularly nasty is that Shamos can persist on your system. It can stick around and download even more harmful payloads later on, giving attackers a long-term foothold.
Okay, that's just one example. Pretty scary. What else should we be aware of from the article?
Right. Another common tactic involves what are called click-fix-style attacks and the notorious atomic stealer. These often use fake verification pop-ups or kick TCHAs, those prove you're not a robot puzzles. They manipulate users. You're trying to solve a puzzle or maybe verify something, and suddenly you're told to copy-paste a line of code into Terminal. Again, it's about user interaction under false pretenses, just trying to get something done. Once that malicious code runs, Atomic Stealer takes off, grabbing credentials, browser cookies, all sorts of crypto wallet information. And the newer versions of Atomic Stealer, they've even added persistent backdoor capabilities.
Persistent backdoors, meaning
Meaning attackers can maintain access to your system long after the initial compromise. Even if you restart your Mac, they can just get back in.
it really sounds like they're preying on our natural inclination to just solve a problem quickly or,
Right.
get through a verification step.
Exactly right. And then there's another one mentioned, Frigid Stealer. This one often comes via fake update scams. You might visit a compromised website, maybe one you even trust usually, and it suddenly prompts you to download what looks like a browser update. It looks official, like a standard installation file. If you fall for it, download it, run that file. Frigid Stealer gets to work stealing your browser data, crypto wallet credentials, Apple Notes, other sensitive files, and again, transmitting them all back to those command and control servers. So if we connect this to the bigger picture, you see a really clear pattern emerging, right? These attacks rely heavily on social engineering. They trick the user. And while Apple's built-in protections like Gatekeeper, which verifies software, protect Apple's anti-malware sandboxing lockdown mode, they're robust, they're good, but Mac and the Crosshairs makes it abundantly clear they are just not sufficient on their own anymore against these constantly evolving threats. Attackers are specifically designing ways to bypass those foundational Apple defenses by getting you, the user, to inadvertently grant them access. They're preying on user trust, habits, even our desire to fix a problem quickly or keep our software up to date.
That's a crucial distinction. It's not just about flaws in the software itself, but exploiting human behavior. So, okay, what does this all mean for you, the small business owner who relies on your Mac every single day? Mac in the Crosshairs moves beyond just pointing out the threats, thankfully, and offers some really actionable protection strategies. What immediate steps can you take to actually bolster your defenses and protect your business from these, well, increasingly sophisticated attacks?
Right. This is where we shift from understanding the scary problem to implementing practical solutions. And the article gives some really solid advice. It starts with a golden rule. Avoid running unknown commands, period. This means you should never, ever copy-paste code from dubious web pages into terminal. Even if it claims it'll fix something or improve performance, don't do it. That little command you're asked to paste could literally be the key unlocking your entire system for an attacker. For legitimate help, stick to Apple's own help menu and the official Apple community forums. Those are vetted, trusted sources.
Okay, rule number 1, be super skeptical of pasting commands. Got it. What about downloading new software or updates? That seems like another entry point.
Definitely. That brings us straight to the second point. Use trusted sources only when downloading software. That really means getting your apps exclusively from the Mac App Store whenever possible or directly from verified developers you trust. You should never download from random sites, click on unsolicited prompts, or fall for those deceptive alternative verification things or CAP-TCAs that ask you to run terminal commands. Those are huge, flashing red flags. You absolutely must heed them. Third, and this is vital, Mac in the Crosshairs strongly advises that you layer on reputable third-party antivirus protection. While Apple's built-in security is a good foundation, it really needs to be complemented. It's not enough by itself anymore. The article specifically mentions products like OpenText Wayroot endpoint protection as an example. These tools offer real-time malware scanning, but also often bundle in extra features like VPNs, password managers, maybe even dark web monitoring. These tools add critical layers of defense that your business genuinely needs against these modern stealthy threats.
Right, so the built-in stuff is good, but it's not the whole picture anymore. We need that extra shield. Makes sense.
Exactly. Fourth point, keep all your software up to date. All of it. Promptly patching macOS, your applications, and any security tools you use is absolutely vital. It closes known vulnerabilities that attackers love to exploit. But again, be cautious. Fake updates are a really common trick, as we saw with Frigid Stealer. Always ensure updates come from official sources only. You should be initiating the update from system settings or the App Store, not reacting to some random pop-up on a website. And finally, foster vigilant habits across your entire team, if you have one, even if it's just you. This means being skeptical of urgent warnings or, those screens that freeze claiming your system is compromised. Think before you click. Limit app installations to only trusted sources. Back up your data regularly. That's non-negotiable for any business, Mac or PC. Use unique, strong passwords for every single account. And the article even suggests considering a password manager like LastPass to help manage all the secure credentials safely. But, this raises an important question for small businesses. How can you effectively implement and maintain all these layers of protection without it becoming a full-time job in itself.
Yeah, that's a really crucial point. Mac in the Crosshairs makes it very clear that modern malware is smart. It exploits both social engineering and technical gaps. For many small businesses, trying to manage this increasingly complex security landscape on your own, it can feel completely overwhelming. It is a full-time job just keeping up. Mr. Kaplan's article does touch on how expert partners like his company CDML can help fill these gaps. What does that kind of support really look like for a busy business owner? How does it help?
Well, partnering with experts like an MSP can be a total game changer, honestly, because it allows you to build that necessary resilience without having to become an IT security guru yourself. Mr. Kaplan explains how CDML, for instance, helps businesses turn security from like an annoying afterthought into a built-in advantage. So this means things like software validation. They actually ensure your team's apps and any code they use are verified and tamper-proof. This directly protects your end users from those stealthy threats like Shamos that try to sneak malware into your system disguised as legitimate software. They handle those complex checks so you don't have to worry about it. They also handle best practice integration, things that might seem complex to implement on your own, like code signing, deployment verifications, secure update mechanisms. They make these seamless and resilient parts of your business's daily operations. It basically removes the burden from you and ensures these critical security processes are handled correctly every single time, rather than becoming just another item on your already packed to-do list that maybe doesn't get done.
Okay, so they're not just fixing problems after they happen. They're actually building a stronger, more secure foundation from the ground up.
Precisely. And furthermore, they provide crucial education and support. This isn't just about, sending out a memo saying be careful. It's about actively creating secure user experiences through compelling communications and even designing user experience flows that discourage risky behavior. Think about it. They can help design systems or implement policies that actively discourage practices like pasting stuff from external unverified sites into sensitive applications or obviously terminal. That significantly reduces your team's susceptibility to those social engineering attacks we talked about. Ultimately, partnering with experts allows your business to build really comprehensive resilience against these constantly evolving cyber threats. It encompasses everything from compliance, like APIA if needed, to cybersecurity planning, managed IT services, and ongoing user training, so you can actually focus on what you do best, growing your business.
So the powerful message we really take away from this deep dive into Mac in the Crosshairs is crystal clear. The days of just relying solely on Apple's built-in defenses are, well, they're behind us. That old idea of Mac immunity is truly a myth now, and a dangerous one at that. For you, the small business owner, the real challenge now is moving away from just reactive patching and hoping for the best, and moving towards proactive, layered resilience. It's really about building a robust digital fortress around your operations, not just crossing your fingers and hoping nothing bad happens. So the closing thought is this. What steps will you take this week to ensure your Mac and your business data are truly protected against the threats that are actively out there hunting for vulnerabilities? Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into Mac in the Crosshairs. Beware of the latest info-stealing malware targeting macOS by Mr. Len Kaplan of CDML. We definitely encourage you to check out the full article for even more details and insights. It's worth the read. And hey, if you found this deep dive helpful, please click that thumbs up button. We really appreciate your support. Till next time.